He's with the Broward College team as the Executive Director of Marketing and Strategic Communications, and welcoming Don to the chair.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Thank you, and I appreciate you all coming out tonight, not only to support the Startup Grind, but also the South Florida Accelerator and Broward College. You know, starting a technology ecosystem from scratch is difficult. You know, while a company that I was a part of had success down here, it's not easy for tech startups to get going. It's hard to get funding, it's hard to get talent, and I would love, a part of the strategic initiatives that I am in charge of at the college is to figure out how we can get a venture ecosystem down here. It's just a foreign word. Everyone is into equity and how much sales do you have? How much revenue are you generating? How many customers do you have? How many subscribers do you have? Well, it doesn't start with that. So, you know, when we get to the end of this and you guys ask me questions, we'll talk about a lot of the great stuff that my companies have done, but there's a lot of bad stuff too. Ask, you know, the harder questions.
Tell us a little bit more about you. How did you get into the Chief Marketing Officer role, and what made you want to go down that path?
So I'm from Philadelphia originally, so I'm a transplant, like probably 90% of South Florida. There's very few people that grew up down here and stay. For some reason, the people grew up here head elsewhere, and folks from all over the place in the Northeast especially come down here to live. It's a wonderful place to live, and I've been down here since '99 when I graduated from college. I got my start in politics, and I think that's really helped me understand from a marketing standpoint how to get a message out there. So if you've ever met a politician, I'm sure everyone in this room has, if there's any profession that knows their message and what their constituents or their audience or their customer base wants to hear, it's a politician. And that's not a slight. That is understanding your audience, and that's what marketing is all about. So I was lucky enough to get a great start across the street working for a lobbying firm, a law firm also called Pull McKinley & Blosser. And I was lucky to get a great mentor right out of the gate for my first job out of college. Well, my first job out of college was working as a bouncer at the Iguana Cafe at Beach Place. That air show that we put on down here was actually a loss leader for our recruiting and retention efforts, marketing efforts to the Department of Defense. So we've put that show on, that multi-million-dollar show, to bring down admirals and generals to pitch them our ideas for the year for their recruiting and retention efforts. Often in startups, you get the technology guy or the engineer that starts the company, and they're not. You're going to be building, you're coming up with a roadmap, but you're selling. If you're not building the product, you're selling every single day. And if you can't do that, you have to get a support system that can. So I had a great run there, ended up falling into an opportunity. My roommate at the time, his uncle worked for a company called MDR out in Sunrise that does beauty products and lotions and vitamins and that sort of stuff. And he told me that the CEO of that company just started a company called Learn.com, and that they were getting into they wanted to be a social network, though we'd never get away with that now with what's come out since then. This is back in 2001. Create content, have my students come, sell courses one-off. Similar to, you know, it's funny how the market's changed, and that was back in 2001. If you look at companies like Udemy and Coursera and companies like that, those are what software as a service, before software as a service was sexy. And you can come into the market too early, and waste a lot of time and money spinning your wheels trying to get something going that the market doesn't want. We ended up acquiring our next group of customers. We acquired a company called Learn2. For those of you who are in the market, they were a public company at the time. We took them private because they had a course library of about 2,000 courses. We knew we had the idea that the learning management system or the platform at the time would be a commodity. So we acquired that company in 2006, Learn2, with their own debt. So it was an interesting deal that we put through. After that, that following 3 years, we built the company from about $3 million in revenue to about 30, which continues to go down year over year. And there's going to be a substantial hit to the college system to the tune of, I've heard, anywhere between $60 and $100 million next year that will be diverted into the university system. That's a significant hit to a college that supports 65,000 students in this community.
I appreciate you speaking here with us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks again to TSFA and TechSakeO for helping sponsor the food and the wine and alcohol and whatnot. And a big thank you to our volunteers.